For nearly a decade, Clean Lakes Alliance has worked tirelessly to engage the community and implement on-the-ground actions across the watershed.
We're really investing in the problem and finding out a possible solution.
There is renewed energy.
The process here is really fascinating to watch.
Innovative studies.
We've got a lot of good energy and a lot of great minds.
Working to put the science behind this.
Cutting-edge solutions.
Getting this new technology. I'm excited to use it.
And momentum.
We're making great progress.
We are having an impact. We are improving the water quality.
To all of us, the problem is easy to see, but the cause is incredibly complex. So Clean Lakes Alliance turned to Strand Associates to help sort out the webwork of factors.
The Yahara Clean Engineering Report. Having the Clean Lakes Alliance funding this study brought together a very diverse group.
The report identified which actions were possible, what was realistic, and what needed further study.
So we were able to prioritize actions based on their total present worth or their 20-year cost, divided by the pounds of phosphorus that would be removed over those 20 years. And then we also looked at non-monetary factors, like how easy are they to implement.
Now, after several long-term studies and years of experience implementing practices, the community is coming to a better understanding of the complexities facing the watershed, even as some baseline factors continue to shift.
I think it's important to update the report because of climate change. There's so many more wet weather events and flooding events.
Those events are connected to unexpected new data.
The biggest surprise for me was in the leaf management area.
I was shocked.
For the last 6 years, the city of Madison has been conducting a continuous leaf study with the U.S. Geological Survey, tracking the impact of the city's leaves on water quality.
The leaves on the street are really your target. The leaf actually doesn't have to leave the street in order to release its phosphorus into the lakes.
That's because of the tea leaf effect, the same way you steep tea at home. Anytime it rains on leaves in the street, phosphorus rinses out and washes into the lakes.
A leaf in the street on a sunny day does no damage.
The study's findings are eye-opening. Madison can cut its phosphorus load to the lakes in half by focusing on just a handful of specific days each year.
If every person raked all of the leaves off of the street before every rainstorm, so our streets were free of leaves, you would have almost a 50% reduction in the phosphorus load going to the lakes just from doing that. And if you look at how many storms you have in an average fall, it's 8. So it takes 8 times of raking the frontage of your yard, and we would be at a 50% reduction.
The key is getting residents' buy-in. Dane County offers weather alerts so homeowners can be reminded when storms are expected. The city has put this image on garbage trucks around the city, acting as mobile billboards to educate citizens.
We can reduce the amount of phosphorus that goes into our lakes. It's that simple, just by doing little things every day.
The results of the study here are now serving as guidance for the DNR to help municipalities across the entire state.
Agriculture is committed to finding ways to continue to improve the environmental performance of their systems.
In the last few years, more farmers in the watershed have turned to low disturbance manure injection, LDMI. In the past, some farmers would apply nutrients directly onto the field, making it easy to run off in rain. Or they would inject it deep into the ground, which put the manure safely below the surface, but disturbed soil so much that it was susceptible to runoff. LDMI is a happy medium.
Low disturbance manure injection tends to keep the manure in the upper 6 inches of the soil, the most biologically active part. Pathogens, between any sunlight that they're exposed to, the microbiology in that upper part of the soil, pathogens are very quickly destroyed.
Clean Lakes Alliance helped fund this implement, which is rented out to area farmers.
anything that we can do to help keep the soil in place, keep the nutrients on the fields where they belong.
Another growing success, buffer strips. Strips of grass at least 30 feet wide, planted at the edge of fields and along streams. They slow the movement of water coming off fields, keeping nutrients in place.
Our family has been farming for 170 years and owned and operated this farm. This is our original farm from the late 1800s. And if we want to continue that for another 170 years, we need to be a lot more careful about where our soil, where the nutrients we're applying to our fields are going and where they end up.
Clean Lakes Alliance helped the county purchase easements along 3.5 miles of streams for vegetated buffers and will help acquire more this year.
We all live together in the same watershed. Anything we can all do to work together benefits us all with cleaner water, cleaner lakes.
So let's talk about carp. There's nothing good about carp.
They're kind of like a herd of buffalo.
They're foraging on the bottom for their food.
They go through, they stir up the mud,
And they're resuspending all the sediments in the bottom of the lake.
Carp are a problem throughout the watershed. In Lake Kegonsa, Clean Lakes Alliance is helping remove massive amounts of the invasive fish by bringing in commercial fishermen.
They come out and they put like a mile of net out in the lake, and they pull this net in until pretty soon they've got a pen, and there are thousands and thousands of carp in there. And they scoop these carp out and put them on a sorting barge because they can't take sports fish. Every single pound of carp we've taken out so far has been reprocessed for food. That is the greatest part of this story. Our goal we set was to remove 1 million pounds of carp out of this lake in 5 years. The main message here is that for every 100,000 pounds of carp we take out of the lake, we remove 1,850 pounds of phosphorus. It's a big number because there's a multiplier effect. A pound of phosphorus could equal 500 pounds of algae. We're making a big improvement on the lake.
At the top of the chain of lakes, experts are studying different solutions.
Does it make sense to look at a bubble barrier as a way to keep carp out?
Bubble barriers are a new technology in which air is forced through a tube at the bottom of a water body, creating a wall of bubbles. The sight and sound has been shown to help keep carp from passing through. Researchers here look to their use in nearby Green Lake, where a bubble barrier is combined with a physical barrier. The bubble barrier makes it possible for boats and kayaks to get through while stopping the carp. Engineers recently completed a feasibility study to learn if this could be used in our watershed.
We've learned a lot about how barriers work. It is feasible to put a bubble barrier here. The biggest question is the benefit worth the cost? I take my hat off to the Clean Lakes Alliance. Being out on the cutting edge to fund a study like this, there's some element of experimentation here. You have to try some of these things and see if they work.
There's definitely signs that we're making a dent. Water clarity last year was the best it's ever been.
We can see the end result, less sediment in the water, clearer water.
If you look at the whole phosphorus problem, this is a pretty tangible and solvable problem.
I'm proud of all the different communities that are implementing actions from the report. The lakes and the waterways really define our community.